From The National, this is Trending Middle East. I'm Yasmin Al-Taji. It's Friday, September 5th. Here are today's headlines. Jordan has called for joint Arab action against what a minister called Israel's, quote, colonialist displacement plan, unquote. The call came from Jordanian Foreign Minister Ayman Safadi at an Arab League ministerial meeting in Cairo on Thursday. The National's Hadya Al Alawi is here with more.
Jordan seeking a joint Arab action may suggest it's trying to rally support from other Arab League nations to apply collective pressure, perhaps diplomatically, economically, or in international forums like the UN. Now, Jordan and Israel already have a tense but functional peace treaty since 1994. And statements like this can strain the relationship even further. Jordan has been growing more frustrated with Israel's conduct in this war on Gaza, which so far has killed over 64,000 Palestinians in the Strip.
Safadi said, quote, the threat is to our common security, to the stability of our region, to our interests, and to our future, unquote. He referenced Israeli occupation of parts of Syria and Lebanon, and accused the Israeli government of seeking to, quote, impose hegemony over our Arab world, unquote.
Now, the timing of this is quite interesting because it came just a day after the UAE on Wednesday warned Israel that annexation of the occupied West Bank would constitute a red line for the country and undermine the vision and spirit of the Abraham Accords. It also warned that it would alter the widely shared consensus on what the trajectory of this conflict should be, with two states living side by side in peace. Now, all of this comes after Israeli far-right finance minister presented a plan to annex the majority of the West Bank. This just shows that the Arab countries have a shared vision and a shared consensus on the way forward in resolving the Palestinian issue, and they're growing really frustrated with the Israeli conduct in this war.
Meanwhile, the death toll in Gaza has risen to at least 64,231 Palestinians as of Thursday evening. That's according to the enclave's health ministry. The Hostages Families Forum, representing captives held in Gaza, has called on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the U.S., and mediators to immediately meet and work until a deal is reached with Hamas. The Israeli military identifies only a quarter of the Gazan detainees it holds as combatants. That's according to an investigation based on classified Israeli military data. The investigation's findings were published by British and Israeli media. They show that the majority of detainees are civilians held without charge or proper legal process. They include Palestinian children as well as the sick and disabled. The National's Thomas Helm is here with more.
Many international and Palestinian civil rights groups have said that the percentage of civilians being captured versus militants or fighters is actually higher than the numbers quoted in this Israeli military data. But what's significant about this particular investigation is that it draws on that very same Israeli military intelligence numbers.
The report is the latest indictment of Israel's detention of Palestinians from Gaza since the launch of its military offensive in the enclave in October 2023. Rights groups have said conditions at the military's detention centers are degrading.
Last year, I interviewed a physician who worked in the notorious Detained detention facility. He described to me his horror and feelings of extreme guilt at being told to treat injured Gazans who were blindfolded and chained to beds, even though many of them had extremely serious injuries. There's been concerns about the conditions in these facilities, particularly for prisoners held on security charges. Respected international bodies and Palestinian groups and Israeli groups have long documented this, and the plight of prisoners is one of the most important pillars of the Palestinian cause. Throughout the war, particularly during ceasefire and hostage deals, I've spoken to Palestinian prisoners who've been released from Israeli jails who describe shocking conditions. I've seen them and the state that they emerge in immediately leaving the buses that take them from these prisons. Many of them looked very ill, underfed, very pale, a lot of the time.
The UN has documented cases of Palestinians being beaten, attacked by dogs, and sexually assaulted in detention centers where the vast majority of inmates are not designated as combatants. A film about a Palestinian girl killed by Israeli forces in Gaza has garnered a record ovation at the Venice Film Festival. The voice of Hind Rajab is the title of the film. It was one of the most anticipated titles at this year's Venice Film Festival. It received a record-breaking 23-minute, 50-second standing ovation after its world premiere this week. The Tunisian filmmaker Kauthar Ben Hania's drama reconstructs the events surrounding the death of Hind Rajab. She was 5 years old when she was killed in Gaza City last January, alongside 4 cousins, her aunt and uncle, and 2 paramedics who attempted to rescue her after the family's car came under fire from Israeli forces. Hind was trapped for hours in the vehicle while on the phone with the Palestinian Red Crescent. When paramedics finally reached her, both she and the rescuers were dead. Media reports later concluded an Israeli tank had likely fired more than 300 bullets into the vehicle. Hind's voice recording is used in the film. James Mottram reports for The National from Venice.
I think it's fair to say it's probably one of the most emotional premieres that the illustrious Festival of Venice has ever experienced. There was a record 24-minute standing ovation when the film concluded, which really is no surprise on some level because it is an incredibly powerful piece of work. I saw it before the festival started in a small screening in London, and journalists were coming out ashen-faced. One colleague described it as a sort of an unusually raw emotional mood at Venice, with people reflecting on the film.
Brad Pitt, Joaquin Phoenix, Rooney Mara, Alfonso Cuarón, and Jonathan Glazer joined the film as executive producers. Audience members were reportedly visibly emotional during the screening.
It's all set in a Red Crescent emergency center. So you have Palestinian actors playing the Red Crescent volunteers. It's extremely significant that this film is playing in competition. I think it stands a very, very good chance of winning the top prize, the Golden Lion. It reminds you of the horrors ongoing daily in Gaza in an incredibly powerful and cinematic way.
That's all for this morning's headlines. You can get these stories and follow live updates at thenationalnews.com. Yasmin Altaji, The National.